Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and today we're going to do the last one of the series that we have done. This is going to be based on a articles you put down from theprepared.com. One of the viewers sent me this link and asked me to go over it. I liked it, so I figured I'd make this into content. It's 25 prepper quotes. I broke it up into segments of 5 that I cover in each one. If you haven't seen the others, I encourage you to go back and watch it. Or, if you don't want to listen to me ramble on and you don't care about my opinion, I'm sorry. You can go down in the description section and click on it and go check out the prepared.com for yourself. So far, everything that I've seen put out really great content. So I don't mind promoting them. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the last 5 of this one. And I'll move out of the way so that way I can try and put it up here. So this one is probably one of my favorite ones. Better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. Yes. Stop and think about that if you don't understand that. That didn't just jump out to you. It's better to be somebody prepared in self-defense and some sort of martial arts and hand-to-hand combat and projectile self-defense tools and blunt objects and whatever means of being a warrior. It's better to know how to do everything, to be well trained and disciplined in the art of being that warrior, that self-defense person, and just living your days in the garden versus being just a gardener and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and you have no idea what to do. Okay. I really like that one. I've heard that a time or two before, but as soon as I read that, it just made me smile. So we'll move on to the next one. It is easier to prepare and prevent than to repair and repent. Okay. I again like this one. These last couple will really make me smile when I read them. So let's break that down. It's easier to prepare and prevent. Okay. Now, again, we're in the preparedness community. If you prepare correctly, a lot of times you can prevent a lot of things. The old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So in this one right here, it's better to prepare. So let's go into your car. You do preventative maintenance, so that way you don't have to take it in for costly repairs. You do things like change your oil, so that way you put fresh oil in and you are doing preventative maintenance. You don't wait until the oil is really, really bad and then it blows up your motor. Now you're doing a very costly repair. Okay. Hopefully you get that, and I made a good analogy on there. But instead of saying, I'm sorry, and now I've got a bunch of things I've got to try and fix and things like that, it was really easy and all the time before. So, go back to the car. You bought the car, you've had it for a year. In that year's time, you could have been doing preventative things instead of apologizing to your spouse or your partner that you didn't do the preventative stuff and now you have a costly repair. So let's move on. And so the next one, number 23, preparation through education is less costly than learning through tragedy. That's deep. Okay. You really got to stop and think about this one through. Again, this is going to be my opinions. You guys may have difference of opinions. It may hit you differently. You may see a different interpretation. But if you look through this right here, preparation through education, okay? If you learn about how to prepare for things, so you take where you are statistically, and you look at all the different things that has happened in the past. You learn from history. You educate yourself of what it is. So I live in this area, which is prone to floods and earthquakes. Okay, so the statistics that you are going to look at, you are probably going to experience that at some point in your life, if not multiple times. So if you educate yourself on the signs to look for that's about to happen, and what to do when it happens, and what to do after it happens, and you educate yourself and train and do all that, it's so much better and less costly because you can save lives, okay? And that's what it's saying there in the tragedy, again, in my opinion, is that you could take the time now to educate yourself and learn the skills and the things that are needed, so that way you might be able to save, the next door neighbor, the little kid down the street, whatever. You can help with that education and the preparedness of it, then learning because of the tragedy. Well, if I would have done this beforehand, they wouldn't have, had a tragic accident. So I really like that. That really speaks a lot. We could almost do a whole show on that one. So let's move on to the last of them. I don't know why my phone here saved them kind of out of order, but kind of have to go through. Okay, so number 23. We did 23. Number 24. Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Now, this goes back into another show that we did, another one that they said. I forget what number it was, but it was the, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. This kind of goes along with the same thing, so we won't spend that much time on it. Again, we'll just touch on it. You want to be prepared for as much as you possibly can. You start out with the things that statistically are probable versus possible. And we've done a show on that one too. You look at the things that are more than likely going to happen versus the things that could happen versus the things that you got 1 in 100 chance or 1 in a million chance of happening. So again, that kind of goes back. It's kind of a golden prep rule. All right, so the last one. Let's go ahead and finish this out. Let's round this mini series up. Purple quote number 25: "Prep and survive, adapt and thrive." Okay, very, very good right there. If you prep and survive, okay, so prepping to survive, adapt and thrive, okay, all three of those kind of circle back. They all intermix and everything with each other. So you prep to survive, and the way to survive is that you adapt to your situations. That's that going back into this. Your plan A, plan B, plan C, things like that. Just because you have plan A, something may change and alter that. You have to adapt. Okay, this happened, this changed. Now what? Well, plan B won't work because plan B is similar to plan A, but plan C could still work. So you adapt and you run over to C and you venture with that plan. Sometimes something changes and you have to adapt and keep going. But those that prepare to survive, that can and has the ability to adapt, will more than likely thrive. Okay, I kind of changed the words up or whatever, but I agree. I love it. I love it. I love all 25 of these. To the viewer that doesn't want me to share names, which I get, to the viewer, greatly appreciate this. I love sharing things like this. If you agree with any of these, if you have a favorite one, I'd love to hear it. If you disagree with one, I want to hear your point of view, your thoughts, everything on it. If there's something out there that you want me to read, view, watch, whatever, and you want my thoughts and opinions, please go ahead and share it, and I will do my best to get back to you. So far, I don't think that there's anybody that has sent me a message that I have not responded to. We're not that big of a channel yet. I don't have 100,000 subscribers. We're still growing at a pretty good pace and whatnot. So as of right now, we're still small and probably will continue to stay relatively small for at least a couple more months, maybe a year. I am one that you can reach out to. That if you're just starting out, which is why I made this channel. If you're just starting out and you're trying to learn how to prepare, sometimes when you follow some of the people that are really up here, they're much more skilled than I am, and I don't have a problem saying that. Sometimes it's hard to reach those guys. I know there's a lot of people out there that have 100, 200,000, 500,000 subscribers. If half of those sent that person a message, it's going to be hard to read every single one of those and personally take the time and do a thought out response to them. And I get it, So I'm not saying that my answer is going to be better. I'm not going to say that uh, I'm always going to have the absolute, complete answer to help you. I will do everything in my power to learn, look things up, and give you my opinion. And there's been a time or two where somebody's asked me, and I just simply said, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that field. I will not become an expert in a relatively short period of time to be able to give you an answer that I feel morally, will justify, everything. So sometimes if you ask me something, you have to be prepared that I'm going to say, I don't know. Okay. And I can't. Uh, but don't be afraid to ask. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to say, remain united, guys. We're all prepping in this together.